Welcome back. This is part 2 on how to actually change. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to conquer vices. Vice is similar to an addiction. A vice leads to an addiction. I have much experience with this. I was a drug addict for many years and I've been clean for 4.5 years. Let's get straight into it. So if you watch my last video, you'll understand the 3 rules. These 3 rules are essential to change, and I'm going to repeat them in every single video so people understand. The first one, be completely honest with yourself. You have to be able to sit there, pen to paper, and know where you're going wrong in life. You need to be honest that you're simping over a woman, that you can't control yourself with alcohol or drugs, whatever it be. Number 2 is a willingness to change. Don't be that guy who says, I'm going to change, gives it all the talk, and when it comes to the hard work, doesn't want to put the effort in, okay? Because them people just like the feeling of change. They like the thought of it, but they don't actually want to change. It's like a fantasy to them. Number 3, be prepared to struggle. It's not easy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it to you. But if you seriously want to change and you're seriously fed up with your life, you're seriously fed up of feeling shame and disappointment in yourself, then you will change. But you need to have that breakthrough moment. You need to actually want to change. So, this is the 5-step system. I took inspiration of this from the 12 steps of recovery, which I was involved with for two years, and then I volunteered. So I do have a fair amount of experience when it comes to this. By all means, disclaimer, I'm not a drug therapist and I'm certainly not a doctor. I'm sharing my experience, what I've seen works, and what I've seen worked with people when I volunteered and I helped people. So number 1, most important step, honesty. Admitting that you have a problem. If you can't do that, then there's no point continuing. Step 2, understand why you have the problem. We'll get into more detail. Step 3, understanding your triggers. 4, removing your triggers. And number 5, keeping your progress in the day. We'll explain these in more detail. So step 1, to admit. These are signs that you actually have an addiction, a vice. You find yourself fantasizing about using. You could be at work thinking about, I'm going to get home and I'm going to smoke a spliff later. I can't wait to go out with the boys at the weekend and get on the bag and go chase all these girls. And that, you're relying on something externally to deal with something that you're feeling internally. You have a vice. Get defensive when talked about it. I've seen this time and time again. This is very common in drug addicts as well. And I experienced this myself as an addict. And they don't want to admit they have a problem. And when someone is saying to them, you have a problem, and they get defensive, they definitely have a problem. You lie about it when talking about it. So that can be anything from, you could lie about how much you used, you could lie about even using someone, you could have went out at the weekend and got on the bag or smoked some weed, and someone asks you and you say, oh no, I only had a little bit, but you actually had a lot. Or you could lie about having it at all, because subconsciously you know there's a lot of shame around doing it, and you know admitting to it is wrong. So yeah, you have a problem. And it gets in the way of other responsibilities. Pretty self-explanatory in the way of relationships, work, money, family, you name it. So my advice would be, if you do have any of these signs, firstly, ask friends, trusted friends or loved ones what they think, because they see things from an outside perspective. And if they're real friends and if your family love you, they will tell you the truth, and they will tell you, yeah, I think you have an issue with this, or I think you're using this in the wrong way. Put yourself outside your shoes and examine your own behavior. This is your own mental exercise you can do. You can see yourself throughout your day and kind of have a thought experiment. Watch yourself from a third person perspective and think, is this the way that this person behaving? Would I label this as somebody who has a vice or an addiction? Leave your ego and humble yourself. Again, be honest. Humility is the key. You are never going to change if you can't be humble. The people who don't change in life are the ones who think they're perfect and they think they don't need to change. They're the ones who will never change, and they're the ones who will drown in their own demise. So step 2, why do you have the vice? It can be any of these 3 things. It can be trauma, it can be numbing yourself, escapism, which is from the trauma, or it could be just distraction. It could be all of them, who knows? You have to do that internal work yourself and find that out. I can't sit here and tell you why. You know, you could have been unloved by your mother when you were a child, and that's embedded in your subconscious. So instead of dealing with that, you decide to numb yourself. Bad breakup when you were young that you still haven't gotten over. You could hate your job. It could be anything. Only you can work that out. Step 3, identifying the triggers. It can be any of these. It can be all of these. People, your friends. You could have the wrong people around you in life. Friends who are leading you in a bad direction. It could even be your loved one. You know, you could be in a relationship with someone who likes to go out and party or likes to do other things, and you know it's not good for you and you want to change, but you feel trapped in that relationship and you love that person, so you don't want to leave because leaving is scary to you. It could be anything like that. Or it could be people you live with. Your work could be causing you to find the easy solution, which is substances. Feelings, again, blocking out emotion. Environments, goes back to work. It could be your workplace, it could be your home life, it can be the people you hang around with, it can be all of it. So step 4, removing the triggers. This is where the hard work comes in. You have to have enough willpower and strength to be able to walk away from these triggers. Once you identify them, so let's say, for example, you have a group of friends who are smoking marijuana all the time, and you don't want to do that anymore, but you know that now. You've identified that trigger. Okay, I'm okay when I'm on my own, but once I go see my friends, I want to smoke weed. That is your trigger. Then you have to remove that trigger. So what do you have to do? You have to remove them friends. And this isn't easy, and it takes a lot of willpower. In my case, what I had to do with my friends was I just had to leave the group chat and just ignore their messages for like 2-3 months. And eventually, one of my friends who I was close with, he understood and he knew that I was trying to sort my life out. I think he passed a message on, but eventually I spoke to them and then I explained and they understood and they were happy for me. But you have to be willing to do that, to make that sacrifice. If you're not going to change, because the triggers obviously lead to the behavior. And if you can't get rid of the trigger, then the behavior is just going to keep on repeating and repeating in the same cycle. My Instagram is there, the Jillo Man. If you ever want to reach out to me for any advice or anything, feel free. Step 5, daily. Keeping it in the day. Don't think long term. Just think, today I am not going to use this substance. I am going to be clean. That will compound over time. In recovery, they have this cliche saying, just for today. And yeah, it's cliche, but it's so true and it's so fucking powerful. You keep it in the day and you just say, today I'm not going to do this. Today I'm going to be clean. And as a result, you will be clean every day if you just keep it in the day. Don't think 6 months in the future, 2 years in the future. Just think 24 hours from now, every single day. And remember this, admitting you have a problem isn't weakness. It takes real strength to desire change and to actually push through and get that change. Weakness is self-denial. Weak people lie to themselves. There's a great quote I heard. I might get this wrong, so forgive me if I do, but to offend a weak man, tell them the truth. And to offend a strong man, tell them a lie. And it's so true. If you are weak, you are in denial and you can't accept where you go wrong. If you're a strong man, you can take criticism on the chin, you can accept accountability, and you can move forward from that. So these are the 3 tools that you need to actually conquer your vice. A pen, paper, and yourself. That's literally it. You just need to sit down and just write things out. Write thoughts. Identify your triggers, journal your days. What happens before you use this vice? What happens before? What feelings do you experience? What people are you around? All sort of things. Just journal as much detail as possible. Over time, you're going to see a pattern. You're going to see this happens before, and that also happens before. Now you found your triggers. Once you found your triggers, you need to remove them triggers. It can be anything from, like I said, friendships. You could maybe walk a different path to work, anything. It's very subjective, so you have to work that out on your own behalf. So going back to the 5-step system. Number 1, admit you have a problem. Sit down and be honest with yourself. Speak with your family and your friends. See what they think. Run the thought experiment. Watch your own behavior from a third person perspective and actually see what you think of your own behavior. And if you have enough humility and honesty, you'll be able to see it clearly. Number 2, understand why you have this problem. That's when the pen and paper come into it. Write down why you are doing this, what sort of things you are numbing yourself from. Is there a breakup you're not over? Is there some sort of trauma when you was a child? Do you hate your job? Do you hate your location? Do you hate where you live? You have to work that out yourself. Step 3 is understanding your triggers. Again, now you've written everything out. You're journaling your days. You're seeing your days on paper. Now you can see where your triggers are, what is happening before, like I just mentioned. And then you need to remove the triggers. And that is where the hard work comes. You need to be able to step away from people, step away from loved ones, step away from jobs, environments, whatever it be. If you really want to change, you will change and you will find something and it'll work out. And then, as I say, keeping it in the day. Keep your progress in the day. Don't think too far ahead, because I've seen it in addiction. I've seen it in recovery. I've seen it with guys who think too far ahead and they overthink the future. They think, where am I going to be in 1 year? I'm never going to be able to take drugs again. I'm never going to be able to drink alcohol again. Then they start bugging out. And then that just leads to a relapse eventually. So you just need to keep it in the day. Eventually you can get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm never going to touch that again. I had a big problem with marijuana, and when I stopped it, at first I kept it in the day, but now I'm 4.5 years clean from drugs, and now I don't really think about it. To me, it's just like, I don't care about taking drugs ever again. So what I do is I do one-to-one coaching, and I'm not a drug therapist, and I'm certainly not a doctor. As I said already, I'm just sharing my experience with what works and what I've seen in my voluntary work and from my own experience being involved in programs. So these are the people that I help in my one-to-one coaching. And these are the people I don't help in my one-to-one coaching. Men who are sick of their excuses, men who really want to change, men who want to build a strong body and mind that doesn't fold under pressure, and men who are stuck with no clear path or direction in their life. So men who want to get disciplined, I create systems. I create systems for these men. These men will follow the system and follow the daily habits. If you watch the last video, you'll understand this. These are the men I don't help. Men who can't be honest with themselves, men who make excuses, men who aren't willing to do the hard work, but they talk the big talk, and men who avoid discomfort. For me, this isn't about money. This is about helping people. And I truly want to help men become better versions of themselves. I don't know, I wouldn't class myself as a self-improvement coach. I class myself more as a mindset coach. I am personally just sick of living in a world full of soft, weak men. And I've been that soft, weak man in my life. So I'm interested in helping men become better versions of themselves. Men who are serious, not men who want to talk the talk, but don't want to walk the walk. So for me, I just want to help you guys. I hope these videos will give you some guidance and you can be your own coach. That's even better. I just want to see a stronger world, and that's what I care about. Thank you for watching this video. This is part 2 of 7, and I'll see you in the next one.